Hi, it's Professor Mary coming to you from the Computer Graphic Arts program here at Rowan College. So let's go ahead and talk about the project requirements for CGA 215 Electronic Illustration Project 2. So I'm going to go over to the drop boxes and I'm going to scroll down to Project 2. Project 2 is commonly referred to as typefaces. This is a project that I've been doing with my students for a long time, and it's actually a project that is done across the country in all different types of graphic design, computer graphic arts programs. This project is going to be in 8.5 by 11 or letter size format, and you have the choice to do it landscape or portrait. It is going to be a final printed document, which you're going to print and mount, and so you're going to use the CMYK color model. I have given you lots of different examples of what the project's going to look like, so you need to explore this before you go on and actually do your project. You're going to select a person, and basically using words and colors you're going to draw that person. So I'm going to go ahead and show you an example. And these are examples that you can see from Pinterest. And so here's a good example. This is, an actor. This is a musician. So the images are being made out of type, not out of so here's, I think this is iced tea. Let me go and see if I can see this a little bit bigger. So all the gradation, the type, all the actual design is actually type. And if we zoom in, it would probably be words to his songs. So that's the example. So before you go and you actually start your project, I want you to take some time and really look at the examples and see how exacting this is. And this is all type on a path. So this is a good example. Now, when we go back to e-learning, after you look at the examples, don't forget when you click on project number 2, under where it says possible points, you might want to review the grading rubric before you submit the project for grading. The project rubric is how I'm going to grade you on these projects. So please take a minute and review the project rubric before you submit it and get points taken off. If you have any questions, please speak to me before or after class. You can always email me or text me. Now we're going to move on to the good, the bad, and the ugly from last year, so I can show you some projects that were really good ones and some that were not so good ones. So here are some examples from Computer Graphic Arts 215 Electronic Illustration. These are the Project 2 examples. This is the typefaces. So these would be examples of the poor ones. So this one really is basic. I mean, they started off, I think, with good, but it really should be a person, not so much a character. This is more like a video game character. So I'm not sure if I like this one. And then this one, I guess it's supposed to be Deadpool, but really using the type like this is not what we're supposed to do. And when you get to the good examples, you'll see what we're doing here. And then here's another example. Although it does fit the requirements, I'd like to see a little bit more detail. When you look at this, other than looking at the chin where the type is, the rock, I really couldn't tell that this is the rock. So these would be examples of poor ones, and I think that the other reason that I would mark these as poor, this one has one layer, and one layer only. So that would be not a good thing. You need to separate objects into different layers. So let's go ahead and move on to the better projects. So here's some examples of what I would have categorized as okay projects. So you can see that this one's getting a little bit better. You can see the outlines of the person's torso and face. You can see the contouring, and you can really make out exactly what is, the person. Although I don't know who it is. So this one actually was a really well done one. It's a little bit different than the requirements, but they use the negative and positive space really well. Would have liked to see the eye made out of the text as opposed to these shapes. Same thing with the eyebrow. But this is an interesting kind of take on it. And then here's one where they're doing, the whole thing. This is Robert Downey Jr., but I would like to see more detail in this. So, a little bit more detail. And then here's another one. This one I thought was funny because I had a student who was obsessed with Bob Ross and that, the little painty clouds, nice soft clouds and nice soft branches. So he made it kind of, with the word Bob Ross over and over again. So that's an interesting one. I would have categorized these in terms of grades as probably C plus to B. But notice layers, not naming the layers. That's really starting to tick me off. This one did the layers. This one didn't. This one did crazy layers. So watch your layers. Watch your layer names. So let's look at CGA 215 project 2, the typefaces project. Here are some good projects. And the first one you'll see that, first of all, it's well designed with kind of the slash across the mouth because it's censoring. But if we zoom in and we look at each of these individual objects, you're going to see that each one of these is a piece of type. And the way that we're achieving the different texture is the type changes color, along with adding some background shapes. So this is really, really good. So here's another one that I think is good. I would like to see a little bit more texture in the face with some changing color to give it a little bit more texture. And then here's another one I think is really good. Really nice shape of the head, and you can see the hair. Again, the thing I would add for this one is to give a little bit more color to each of the pieces of type to give the definition of the shape and all that good stuff. So I think this is good. I just think that, just by changing the color of the type, it would have been a little bit better. So I'm going to zoom in on this one first. You're going to see how all the different words, notice that the words go from darker to lighter to lighter to lighter, and as we move across the image, it defines it. Now I'm going to zoom out, and this might take a moment because this is a really huge file. So I'm going to zoom out to actual size, and there is Wonder Woman. So we were looking at her cheek right here, and this is what I meant in the other examples, where if you had just gradated the colors of the type to give it a little bit more, just varying colors, you get that gradation. So here we are zoomed out, but if we keep going in, and by the way, this is getting a little bit bogged down. This is like a 150 megabyte file. So if we zoom into this, that cheek area again, and or her eye, you're going to see that all of this is done with the coloring. The other thing I like about this is obviously this is Wonder Woman, so they've got words from Wonder Woman, which is kind of cool. I think she's one of my favorite superheroes. So that's some examples of CGA 215 Project 2 typefaces. If you have any questions, let me know. You can see me before or after class. You can call me, text me, email me, or come see me during office hours. Thanks. So that's the end of this video. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, or talk to me after class or before class, or come to my office hours. And I'll be more than happy to answer any of the questions that you might have.